Displeased and dispelled, mass mania expels. A world untethered from normality, and the clouds that inferno above a repressive vanity. The tranquil metropolitan chokes on the ashes of itself, from the war toys which cling to despair in hopes to crater and eviscerate abroad and ashore, pledge unopposed on nauseous scenes on telescreens. From an Oscar nominee, he pleads to free all seas in a speech of perfect curation and diction. No light glints in the eyes of a tyrant, yet our folks fawn over his bombacity. But we knew better. Despair wilted in the hearts of us bookish boys, teens of worldly thought, whom now aspire for naught, as the unrest of war turned the pages of our lives into footnotes of newly pressed history books. Yet the crease over the present day writes only of fear. On call to the town hall, crowds gathered, and the homes are left to creak in disquiet apathy. Mothers wept into the shoulders of their freshly shaven sons, and the draught of chants in this house of cards for pride and soil howled a wordless imminence. Our tailored suits aisle alphabetically, and the parks lay vacant. Spring mourns in the tides of our absence. Silk thread shoes squeak rubber sole anxiety against the turpentine, and aromatic perfumes mask dreaded fear. Slated sacrifice leave the senses bemused. If this day be our day of unwilling nobility, one best be dressed in protest, for the comforts and joys of a boy die as his birth, on call, forfeits his life. A hidden sniffling, rosy stained noses, and a damned contempt. One's spine chills with the intake of the melodious air round town. The solitary buzz of life, the spring cicada's chirp in chorus, brings life to this ghost town. And inside this mausoleum, chaos cries silent, as doom prances its presence on stage. The air thickened, but I needn't a reason to breathe since dawn this morning. A deafening squeal from the mic's feedback. A throat clears in murmured decibels. Mic check, 1, 2. The silence broke briefly, and movement amongst us statuettes tore theatrically in mannerisms to grasp a moment of autonomy as the antagonists to our youth waltzed out from behind the curtains. My teeth grit as the symbol of my hate now finds a face. Medals of honor swing from their lapels. Repulsive authority, a performance of sin lauding the devil's pride. Wide smiles and security escorts. A laugh among them had been had moments before, and hopes faded from the glint in our eyes in a climax nowhere near thrilling. The game commenced. Numbers were to be drawn in a systemized roulette. Surrender one's chance and sanity to death and savagery. We applaud in vapid serenity, while the anxiety of couched liberty muffled the hands of expressed discontent, and only fear echoed in the crowded halls. I stand alone in cacophonous isolation, shoulder to shoulder, 100 or so strong. I wish to cower my head between my collared shirt and vanish into Arcadia. Lesser is the master who reaps for the spoils of war, and I, his cupbearer, satiates his thirst for more. I dream of my death on the coin that's yet to flip on my fate. Glimpses of heroics, battle cries until sunrise, or the final tastes of a shepherd's pie at my own twilight, retelling this day to kin in kind. For am I to fight or survive? My knees buckle and brace at chance playing the bluff, but I remain erect against the stationary fear. The hour is nigh, and my breath chills within the fire of this cowardly desire. 24 heads have fallen by noon, and the weeps we hear from willow wombs drown faith in fathoms in currents of gloom. I've yet to feel the noon sun's rain on this pleasant day. I've only seen cloudy eyes drain on sleeves that seep with gritted muted pleas. We stand in drought, thirsting for compassion, but the weeping wards from before turn stoic and grey in acceptance in him to service and sacrifice. But a dozen more fall in the second call, 60 strong in a hollowed hall, and my shoulders shrink in the added space, and the violent silence eases in campaign official jingles, anthems, and vigils. I look on back to my mother clinging her belly, and my father in the shadow of his brim, my eyes bloodshot with rage. My mother's child is being stolen from her, and my father's pride is to be snuffed leagues away in bedlam and squalor. The whistle of war awakens the nocturnal mind from reverie and hypotheticals. We embrace for the evening's final pickings, minutes away from the first days of my last. No boy is to walk out magnanimous. 2003, July 17. Hands clap, but no applause erupts. The sonorous thunder of a patriot's cry are muzzled by loss and defiance. I walk up to the podium. My steps are resonant. My heartbeat dulls and the tips of my fingers tickle. Steady-handed and brimming with angst, face to face with my master, twinkle-eyed and justified, I smile, and nothing but fury echoed in the hollowed hall.